Occurred in February of 1989, in Hamamatsu, Shizuoka Prefecture. When the Sagara family moving to a 2-story house. The house was abandoned since 10 years ago and needed some repairs for their move. Two men, Shoichi Watanabe and Kazuo Murayama, were hired by Mr. Sagara to paint the entire inside of the house. Both men arrived in the morning with Mr. Sagara, who opened the door and gave them instructions about colors. They must paint the low area and the kitchen. For the rooms they would use other colors that he would bring later. The house was totally empty, but the entire house is clean everywhere, just needed to paint all the walls to start furnishing. Mr. Sagara gone, leaving the two men begin their work. It has been 1 hour since they started painting, when suddenly they heard the sound of a phone ringing. It should be noted this happens in 1989 and the normal people did not have cell phones. When the men hear the phone, they initially decided to ignore it and let it ring. However, when the phone stopped ringing, almost immediately it began again, and so on and so on. Soon both men wondering if could be Mr. Sagara calling them, so Kazuo went to answer. The room was empty, the sound seemed to come from above. Kazuo go upstairs and the sounds lead him to the master bedroom. Opening the door, he realizes as the rest of the house, the room was empty except by an old dusty little table, and upon this a rotary phone which was ringing. Kazuo answered the phone and on the other side of the line heard a woman whimpering, very distressed. "Please help me," cried the woman. "Hello? Excuse me?" said Kazuo, confused. "Oh no, no more please, no more please." The women shouted desperately strong. Behind the line blows were heard. The blows making her coughing heavily, as if she getting kicks in her stomach. He heard the women's strong breathing, then she mourn again. Kazuo felt petrified to hear their desperate cries. "Hello? Hello? Miss?" he asked. Then he listened a painful cry more desperate than others. "No, no, please no." Behind the line he heard the sound of a chainsaw when is activated. Screams echoed through the phone's speaker and suddenly she stopped screaming. Just the sound of the chainsaws cutting something is listening over the phone. The idea that someone mutilating flesh and cutting the bones of the poor woman with that artifact froze up Kazuo for complete, and then someone took the phone and hung up. Kazuo went downstairs to Shoichi, which notes his friend pale and affected. He asks him what happened. Kazuo tells him all about the strange call. Kazuo felt really nervous and his partner tried to calm him by saying it was just a joke played by someone with nothing better to do. Kazuo smoked a cigarette to calm down, and started to paint, trying not to think about what happened. 1 hour later the phone rang again. Kazuo stared nervously to Shoichi, so he decided handle this. He told his friend to continue painting while he would see who was calling. Shoichi goes upstairs and go to the room. When Shoichi took the phone, heard the voice of a woman crying. "Help me, he going to kill me like Junko." The crying sounded so real that removed the Shoichi's idea this was a joke. "What's going on there?" Shoichi asked nervously. The woman do not answered him, only cried bitterly. Kazuo hear the questions making by his friend and went upstairs. He stood below the door frame. Shoichi heard those mourn and making him feeling her desperation and sadness. He asks her again with a breathy voice. "What is happening there?" The crying woman muttered. "He is soaking me with gasoline," said the woman and broke to cry. Shoichi was totally in silence. Few moments later, he heard the sound of the hell. It broke his heart. Listen how she was screaming, filled with despair and agony. "No, please no, don't set fire in me, I have a son, please don't do it, please no, please no." Then the woman screams really hard as if unbridled, and indescribable pain invaded her entire body. Among their cries, Shoichi clearly hear the laughter of a man and a woman. Shoichi, with moist eyes, remains in silence, listened until she stops to scream. After the silence, someone took the phone and said with a deep voice, "Get out of my house or I'll do the same to you," and then hung up the phone. Shoichi slowly hung up the phone and Kazuo asked him what happened. "Listen, I heard how someone set fire to a woman. We have to call the police, said Kazuo. However, they only stare at each other. Suddenly, the phone rang again. Both men looked over the phone just thinking what to do. Shoichi get courage and took the phone again. At that moment he heard the voice of a very different woman. She was crying and begging for her life. Shoichi broke down and hung up the phone. Then he told Kazuo. He is killing another woman. The man behind this told me this is his house and he wants us to leave this place. Kazuo, I don't know what is happening but this is very bad. Let's get out of here. In that moment Mr. Sagara was entering the house. He realized both men were in the bedroom, so he went upstairs. Guys, what are you doing here? Why you are not painting? Shoichi, respond. Sir, we have received many strange phone calls. The phone has been ringing a lot and each call. Mr. Sagara interrupts him. Wait, hold on. I don't get it, what you mean? Phone, which phone? When both men pointed the place, where the old table and the phone had disappeared, the room was totally empty. This story would not be public until 1990, when Naoto Sagara wanted to make a game room in his basement. The builders realized when they were installing a toilet, they found buried corpses under the floor. Police extracted 7 corpses of women in the basement. One of the bodies had been burned, and another was dismembered. Generally all had a different way to die. The police interviewed to Sagara and he remembered the story of Shoichi and Kazuo which also were questioned. It is believed that the previous owner killed those women, and he buried all of them in the basement. The previous owner Genzo Miyazaki died several years ago. He had been killed in his own home after receiving a shot in his back. The police suspect he was murdered by his own wife Kazuyo Miyazaki. Kazuyo disappeared in April 1979 after allegedly murdering her husband, and no one saw her again. The Sagara family moved in 1993 and the property is currently being occupied by another family. Shoichi and Kazuo believe the house is cursed, and somehow those calls were the way the spirits made to let them know the cruelty of the murderers and the agony suffered by the victims, when they were behind the line. Before going on, if you like these stories, do hit the like button, subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell, so you will not miss new stories like this. Next, the Teke Teke, the horrible abomination. The Teke Teke is a legend about the ghost of a young girl, who was pushed on a railway line and was cut in half by the oncoming train. Her tragic death make her soul able to become an onryo. She carries a scythe or a saw and walks on either her hand or elbows. Teke Teke because is said that is the sound that she makes with her hand when she moves. In other versions, it is said when she are crawling, her upper torso makes an Teke Teke sounds because when she moves you can hear the bones breaking inside her torso. Nobody knows where or why she appears or how select her victims. It only says when you are in a lonely place. Suddenly, you could hear the sound of bones breaking. The sound usually comes from the darkest side where you've been. Step by step the sound will get stronger. This should be your clue to escape, because while you didn't see her, Teke Teke will not be able to see you as well. If you choose stay there and it appears, both of you will see each other, and then she will give you a deadly chase. If the victim is not fast enough, she will slice the victim torso in half, mimicking her own disfigurement. It is also said the Teke Teke can take her old human form. There is a story about 2 young schoolboys who stayed until the night at school. Arikado Yusei and Tanaka Ida both are 14 years old. When they walking back to their homes, Yusei was spotted for the beautiful young girl standing in the window grill resting on her elbows. They smiled at each other for a moment. When Ida saw her, he wondered what this girl was doing in an only boys' school, but before he could wonder more about the girl, she jumped out of the window and revealed her missing lower half. Frightened, he froze in the sidewalk, but before his friend could run, she cuts Yusei into 2 pieces. The fear makes Ida react and he run to the street screaming for help. While running he could hear the characteristic sound of breaking bones behind him. The noise stopped when Ida reached to the street and found other people walking there. The desperate Ida tell them what happening and they were to verify if there is really a dead boy in the school. They found the dead boy with body cut into halved. But it is said that the bottom never was found. Ida could survive and is the only witness alive to the attack of Teke Teke. April 20, 1999. Another incident happened. The least mentioned of most bizarre cases of Teke Teke, it occurred in a hospital in Kanagawa Prefecture. Located on the military base named Sagami Depot, this hospital has been the site of several unexplainable events. The building is hardly used, but nightly security checks reveal raised windows and unlocked doors that had been previously locked. Many of the militaries who patrol the building had reported hearing someone or something walking around inside. It was around 2 a.m. when two officers were patrolling the area. Sato Yu, 26 years old, and his partner Takahashi Koichi, 33 years. Both were in the hospital parking area when viewed in one of the first floor windows, something that looks like a woman wandering inside the building. The guards held their weapons and went to check if it really was someone inside. They entered and moving deeper into the facility, pointing the guns with caution. Checked some rooms, but they were all empty. Suddenly, they heard a noise in the women's bathroom on the first floor. The officers went to check, in the hallway and outside the bathroom door. You ordered the intruder to get out there slowly, but no one answered. The officers decided to get away and call for reinforcements. Koichi used his radio and reported what was happening. Immediately headquarters sent reinforcements to the hospital. The two officers were all the time watching in a safe distance on the women's bathroom door. They could hear footsteps of someone walking into the bathroom as if someone inside were walking in circles. After a while, the two men had not dropped their guard. Remained silently watching the bathroom door. Suddenly, Koichi feels like someone comes from behind and gives him a blow with a sharp object. The blow was as strong as mutilated his left hand instantly and making a severed cut in the left side of his hip. The attack was so unexpected that he had no time to react. The impact threw him into a corner of the hall. Koichi was left-handed. The pain and the impression of loss caused an instant shock to him. He stay on the ground, disarmed in the middle of his own blood. Koichi heard his partner Yu fighting against his attacker. Koichi heard Yu's gunshot at least 4 times. But later he heard Yu screams and the sounds of breaking bones. And someone crawling over the floor. For a while all the hospital remained in silence. And then someone slowly approached Koichi. The official said it was a young lady, pale skin, black hair. And she is floating through the air. Koichi said he only saw the woman from the waist up. He could not remember if she is carrying any weapon for attack. After a moment, the girl disappeared in front of his eyes and the backup group arrived the building at this time. The scene they found was horrible. Takahashi Koichi was seriously injured by a blow that had almost cut him in half and mutilates his forearm. He was found sobbing with pain in a huge pool of his own blood. His partner Sato Yu had been beheaded and his body had been cut in half. Parts of his lifeless body were scattered around the hospital. Yu's blood had stained the entire floor in red and it is said they found some of their viscera on the second floor. A group of officers led Koichi in medical care. In the way they made him a lot of questions trying to keep him talking. He said that he had been attacked by Teke Teke and he told the story to the group. His condition was very critical, he was sent to hospital. But Takashi Koichi passed away on April 22, 1999. Tanaka Kento, who was in charge of the investigation, said it was a very strange case. The bathroom door had been locked from inside, so how someone could use bathroom objects when no one can enter? Nor a logical way to get out without using the door, and also found Yu's weapon as part of the things that was locked in the bathroom from the inside. The building and the surroundings area was extensively reviewed but there was no sign of anyone. The only witness had died and his only clue was the statement to have been attacked by a ghostly girl without her lower body. After this incident they had strengthened security measures there. Now, there will be 3 guards patrolling instead of 2, and if they see someone they had to request support before they should enter to review. Even to this day, so many officers keep saying they hear people walking, running and screaming up from inside the building. And found open windows and doors which was previously locked or closed. Hope you like these horror stories. Please leave a like for the video, subscribe to my channel and comment down below, so you will not miss any new videos like this. Thank you.